Croissants. You're coming to Paris, you're gonna wanna get a croissant. And we're checking out Paris's most hyped croissants in the form of a list that Vogue put together. We're gonna see how good they are, because the thing about listicles when it comes to this stuff is there are people that'll just throw them together and tell you, go eat all these croissants, and maybe they've never even seen them themselves, but you know who has seen them, tasted them, touched them? This guy right here. If you'd like to know more about my croissant selection, along with all the food that I'd recommend in Paris, go to parisinmypocket.com right now, grab my guide. It's a premium guide, give you the full experience, have the best time in Paris possible. But in the meantime, let's go try some flaky buttery croissants. And actually, as we get started here, maybe we should go ask an expert who wasn't even on this list, who should have been on this list, a little bit more about what makes a good croissant. I'm standing in front of Paulo, a bakery that you'll find all over town, and the owner of whom, Apollonia Paulo, is a giant among bakers. She literally has the masterclass for baking. It's bizarre to me that she's not on this list to begin with, so I thought we'd pop in, just ask her a couple of questions about croissants, what makes them special, and yeah, how you can go about, appreciating them. Bonjour. Apollonia, what makes a croissant a croissant?
What makes a croissant is the layered dough. So the dough that you add a big slab of butter, you can also use margarine, and layer it together.
How long does this take?
A long time. Each baker, each pastry chef has their know-how and their choice in the number of layers they make. Each and every one of our customers has their own version of the perfect croissant. What I like to do is take a croissant and slowly break off the tip ends, and then slowly unfold the different parts and munch through them. And then if you want the extra moment, then maybe that's the moment where you want to lodge a little piece of jam, a little dollop of, I don't know, some sort of hazelnut, cream, whatever.
I'm glad you said that, because that's gonna
I like it plain, but
it's gonna be my most controversial tip, yeah. Oh, that looks so satisfying. Laurent DuChêne came all the way across town to grab this guy. This is probably the most farthest flung, the most out of the way you could get. It's in the 13th, and I would say that there are others. There are two others. They're not any more conveniently located. One I think is in the 15th, and one is just east of the city. It's very nicely glazed. Looks nice. It's a nice croissant. A little bit dense, not quite as light and fluffy as I would like. They do have like the first prize listed on the window all over the place. It's a good croissant, €1.40. Is it worth going all the way across town for? No, not based off this experience. No, still a good croissant. Cyril Lignac. There are a handful of these around town, or at least two. Whoa! The croissants are so light and fluffy that they're easy to drop. Oui, allez-y. In the end, don't let anyone ever tell you, of course, that Parisians aren't friendly, because they're super friendly, and you're gonna find people that love croissants everywhere you go. This one, yeah, it's good. Buttery, crispy, flaky. Is it the best one I've had so far? No, but definitely worth it. Maison Isabelle is gonna be low-hanging fruit. If you're on the left bank anywhere, you're probably gonna walk through this market. You're probably gonna end up right next to it. It's not that far from Notre Dame. Easy to get to. This is looking really buttery, flaky. Oh, look at that, pull apart. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's buttery. And for €1.20, I put this place in a number of videos before. It's been a while since I've been here. I was wondering, would it live up to the hype? Would I still like it? The answer is yes. Yeah, oh yeah, eat this one. Gontran Cherrier. I first discovered them in their location in Montmartre like 5 years ago. Just walking around, they were delicious, loved them. And they're on this list with Vogue, but that location's closed, and now there's only 2 locations, one of which is in the train station by the trains themselves. So if you're looking for it, you have to come all the way into Hall 1. Oof, not a favorable start. Oh, that's dense. I can barely pull that apart. It smells nice. It's fine. At €1.90, it's definitely the most expensive, I think this is the most expensive croissant we've had so far. It's actually surprisingly good, because it's like cold, a little bit dense, but really satisfying. That was really pleasant. Probably would recommend you go to Eric Kayser just down the way, because generally speaking, I feel like they're at a better place. However, despite the fact that this didn't fit, like with the whole like light, buttery, flaky, fluffy, and it was €1.90 for a croissant, It was really good. If you got a croissant here, yeah, that would be good. Don't be deceived by the fact that it's in like a little kiosk now. As I was near I was like, I don't think this is gonna, there's no way this is gonna be good. It's fine. It's definitely not like mind-blowing. And for €1.90, it's kind of expensive. But yeah, I'll actually take another nibble. It's like aromatically buttery. Nothing wrong with that. Well, let's jump on the train. I figured I'd put my money where my mouth was and see if my recommendation actually holds up. And money where my mouth was indeed, because this croissant was €2.10, which is now the most expensive one we've had so far. You gotta pay a premium for those train station real estate spots, apparently. Oh, it smells amazing. Also very good. This one's also a little bit dense, and I don't know if it's because like they made a whole bunch of them for the trains. I don't know what's going on, but Eric Kayser's all over the city as well, so that'd be a recommendation of mine if you're ever in the mood for a pain au chocolat, or like, these guys have a lot more options than Gontran Cherrier. Sandwiches, a lot more pastries. I would come here first. If you have time, definitely come here. Gontran Cherrier, not a bad backup by any means, unless you got to save that 20 cents, in which case Gontran Cherrier is €1.90, a little bit cheaper, but wouldn't call this a spiritual experience, but definitely a very good, satisfying croissant experience. Definitely come here. Why would you go to Gontran Cherrier on the corner? They've got like a third of the options, and this is better. It's almost like this Vogue list was written by somebody who never set foot in Paris or something. You know who has set foot in Paris though? This guy, right here. And my guide, ParisInMyPocket.com. Make sure you grab it, because I've got all kinds of good recommendations that'll get you well fed and on your way. And you know, you'll never have a bad meal if you're in Paris with Paris in My Pocket. It's really good. We do have a spot on our list that unfortunately we cannot go to because it was closed down because the chef found himself embroiled in some scandals. So this isn't that place. This is a representation of that. So before we continue on eating, I figured I'd take this as a moment to say, update your lists online when you're sending people to go get croissants. Also, thanks to today's patron producer, Patrick Bobber, and all my patrons for making this possible. Hopefully it's Bobber, Bober, Bobe, however you say your name. Patrick, thanks for being here, and thank you to all my patrons again, making this possible and buying us a bunch of croissants. Sain. I've been here before. I don't remember which video I was here before. I think it was either a croissant, wow, croissant or pain au chocolat video. You can see the layers on this, like clear as day. That looks really good. So she gave us the whole spiel about how these guys do only organic ingredients, and they try really hard to source everything from the local region, from the Paris region. So everything you're eating here is Parisian. Hopefully there's no smog in it. Oh, it smells so good. I don't know at what point I'm gonna go into like how to identify a like good croissant from appearance alone, but if you can see the layers just folding out here, as far as like buttery puff pastry goes, that's a very good sign. That's like just biting into a stick of butter. That's really good. I feel like there's just a touch of some spice in here that I don't know what it is. Really good. This is worth the hype. I would definitely, it's €1.50, which isn't too expensive. For a croissant, it's definitely a little bit higher, like 20 cents higher than I would expect to pay. Although we'll see what it's like with all the prices going up around town right now. However, €1.50 for this, for the quality that you're gonna get, I would say it's worth it. And they're opening a new location near Arts and Métiers at the beginning of 2023, which we will try to go and see at some point here soon. So keep your eyes out for Sain. The other thing before we jump, this is a bonus. One of my favorite pastries in the world, because I love apples, is a chasse aux pommes. A chasse aux pommes is a pastry that's stuffed with apples that have been, depending, it could be like an applesauce. In this case, it's an apple confiture, like they're baked apples that they glazed with caramel, I believe is what she was saying. This looks really different for a chasse aux pommes. Usually it's a little more sealed on the outside. You can actually see the apples through here. It's gonna be very sweet probably. Oh, that's really different. It's extra chewy on the outside, but not too sweet. Give Sain a try. This is definitely worth the hype. We got here just in time. Farine. They just ran out of croissants. Basically, we got one of the last 3, I think. €1.20 for this one. That's a much more reasonable price for a croissant. Looks, ooh, oh God, that's very light for sure. This is really light. Wow, okay, hold on. Let's see how this goes. Oh man, that's just melting and pulling apart right there. Back to just a touch of sweetness on this one. Really light, really buttery. Oh. That's a great croissant, and for €1.20, you can basically buy 2 of the competitors that we went to on the left bank. There's another location in the 12th, but we're in the location in the 9th by Rue des Martyrs, one of my favorite streets in town, and that was delicious. I'm also taking advantage of the fact that traffic is held up by this trash can, or trash truck, garbage truck, however you say it. They're blocking traffic and it's great. There's a lady across the street from Gâteaux et du Pain, which is the spot that I was coming to stop here on Rue du Bac. And she's just walking around yelling at people. You might be able to hear her in the background, but give this a try. The Gâteaux et du Pain is kind of more of a concept store. It's very modern inside, and I would have filmed inside, but they wouldn't let me inside because of Cooper. But this looks beautiful. This looks really cool. It almost looks like a rhino horn coming up the side here. I like the look of that. It looks really good. That's very nice. This one is €1.80, so only 10 cents cheaper than in the train station. It's almost more of a savory. After the last two that I had, this is actually kind of more of like a savory flavor to me. There's a little bit more cooked on the bottom there. Nothing detrimental though. The galette de roi look beautiful as well. So they definitely they've got their presentation down. It looks very, very nice. If you happen to be in the left bank, closer to like Rue du Bac, honestly, you're less likely to end up at Gare Montparnasse anyways. You should come to this place, Des Gâteaux et du Pain, if you're gonna grab your croissant. Yeah. All right, and I didn't get assaulted, so that's good. Yet. Maison Landemaine, or the House of Tomorrow? Is that what that means? House of the next day? Oh, that looks much better in person than I thought. When I saw this in the case, I wasn't so sure. Very glisteny. See how it pulls apart. Feels a little bit tough on the bottom, but let's give it a go. Lower on the list, it's okay. This is the exact kind of croissant that I want for a crisp sandwich, or to put a bunch of jam in. I'm imagining this is falling on like the halfway point or a little bit below on the list of 10, but we'll see. It was €1.30. At Cyril Lignac, I didn't have a chance to I don't remember how much that one cost, probably about the same. While this may not be my favorite croissant, one of the perks to Maison Landemaine is that it has like indoor seating and plenty of it. So if you wanted to come and sit and enjoy your croissant inside, a lot of these bakeries you've been going to, you can't sit inside. And as you can tell, I'm filming a lot of this when it's cold. I'm not eating all of these in the same day. I'm not that much of a glutton. But it is nice to have a spot to sit, which is not something that you can get everywhere you go. So that's a perk to this place. The croissant itself, it's all right. What am I saying? It's great. Every croissant you're gonna have here is gonna be great. You're gonna enjoy all of these. I'm just getting really snobby and judgy about them because I'm going through all of them and having to compare them. And that's not the spirit of things that I want. That's not how I want to live my life. And there you have it, Croissant City. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't live here, if you're not eating these regularly, if you're not in France, especially not in Paris, odds are good that any croissant you have is gonna be the best croissant you've ever had, and you're going to continue to enjoy them. When I first moved back to Paris, I lived around the corner from a bakery that for the longest time I thought was the best bakery in the world. I loved it, I obsessed over it, and then like 6 months or a year later, I came to realize, yeah, not that great, actually. I never go back there anymore. It's not good. But that speaks to the power of your palate being fresh and ready to experience this much butter, maybe for the first time in your life. So while you can go around trying all the best croissants as listed in some list somewhere, you're also probably gonna just really enjoy whatever's right around the corner from wherever you land here in Paris. But if you do wanna know my recommendations for some of my favorite croissants, of course you can find that in my guide at parismypocket.com. It'll make your time so much better just by having it. Premium guide. Highly recommended, just like I recommend these delicious buttery crabby croissants. I never thought of them as little crabs before. Apollonia might have ruined croissants for me for the rest of my life. Oh, also, one last bonus point. If you get a straight one and you grab it on the end just right and you pull it, you might be able to core the whole croissant in one go. And if you can do that, which is not easy to do, but if you can do that, then just take a little bit of jam, put it right in the middle, right through. Oh my gosh, it's so good. That's probably pretty controversial. But if you don't mind having a little bit of jam in your croissant, that's the way to do it. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you later.